Welcome, Annie here for Brutus Monroe. Today we're going to create this fun underwater scene card. Let's go with the products I used to create this card. We're going to use the new Whirlpool stencil. This is a nice, fun, circular stencil. We're going to use this along with some Chroma Glaze for our card. We're also going to be bringing in the Underwater Friends stamps set. This is 17 pieces. You have 3 mermaids, 3 fish, a little crab, a shark, a shell, a sand dollar, and some seaweed and sea kelp. You have 4 sentiments. It's Seize the Day, Sending You Oceans of Love is the one we're going to use today, and Oh Crab, I Forgot, just to name a few. And it also has this cute extra little bow for you to use on some of the animals. There's also a coordinating die set. I have this one here. It cuts out all your images, not the sentiments, just your images. So I just stuck mine in a large plastic. That's how I store my stamps. Alright, so to use with our stencil, we're going to bring in some Chroma Glaze in blue, teal, and a lime. We're going to create a mini Slimline card today. I'm also going to be bringing in some Raven Detail ink. We'll use that for our sentiment. Well, I used it off screen to stamp all of our images, which I've colored in with my Copic Markers. I have 2 sharks today. I did some reverse stamping, so I'll show you that in a second. I have the kelp, the shell, and a little hair bow. And basically I did a little reverse stamping so I can have 2 sharks facing each other. So I created a little male shark, a little female shark. The male I did in shades of blues and grays. The little female I did more grays and purple. And I gave her a little pink bow. Alright, so we're going to, like I said, we're creating a mini Slimline card. So this is 3 by 6. I have some glitter cardstock in blue. And from Not Your Mama's Cardstock, I have the top panel, which is what we'll be stenciling on, which is 3 by 6 as well. I cut the center out of my glitter cardstock just so I can get most out of it. And I have a scrap of Not Your Mama's Cardstock so that I can stamp my sentiment. I have some little gems here in shades of teal that we'll be using as a finishing touch for our card. So I'm going to go ahead and move everything out of our way, all of our little images, because we're going to start with our stencil. I'm going to bring in my stick and stamp mat. We'll be working on that with our stencil and our Chroma Glaze. So I'm just going to get everything out of our way so I can get our stick and stamp mat. I removed the cover off of my stick and stamp mat, so it's ready to go. I'll place my little cardstock here right in the center. I'm going to use my stencil, and the stick and stamp mat will hold my stencil in place. No extra adhesives or anything else needed. It's basically that it is a sticky mat that will hold your stencil in place. So I have that centered. I'm going to start off with the lime Chroma Glaze. I'm going to put that towards the center of our little swirl here of our Whirlpool. And always keep your little covers that come with your Chroma Glaze or your glitter glazes and such. That's how you keep your glazes nice and moist. Otherwise they will dry up on you. Brutus Monroe adds those there for a reason. So I'm just going to put that little cap back on and put my lid on. We're going to move on to our teal color. And we're going to just put that on the above and below the line here. And just going to really work that into the swirl here. And then I will blend these together. I'll show you here in a few minutes. I just really want to get that teal worked in to all those, filling in the swirl nicely. Then we're going to move on to our blue Chroma Glaze. Now I wipe my excess glaze onto a piece of scrap paper I have on the side. And I also use a paper towel to wipe up my spatula once I'm done. Alright, so I'm going to put the blue Chroma Glaze on the top and the bottom here. Get that worked in. Once it's got it nice and worked in, I'm going to close my blue Chroma Glaze. Once I have it all worked into the swirl how I want it, I'm going to then go from top to bottom, back and forth, and that's how I'm blending those colors together. So you have a little bit of the blue going into the teal going into the lime, etc. Once I have that how I want it, I will then pick up my mat. Well, first I'm going to gently remove my stencil. Now to take my panel off, all I do is bend my mat a little bit, and that panel pops right off. I'm going to use my spatula to remove any extra glaze that may be left on the stick and stamp mat, and I will spread that onto that scrap piece of cardstock I have on the side. I'll set my panel off to dry, and I'm going to bring in my stick and stamp mat cleaner. It smells really good. It's got a nice floral scent to it. And I'm going to spray my mat and my stencil, and then I'm going to use a paper towel to clean it. What this does is cleans your mat, and then it reactivates the sticky. Once it dries, it'll become sticky once again. This will be a quick way to clean my stencil. I will take it to my sink after I'm done here and give it a nice good wash, but this way I don't have any glaze sitting on it for too long. You could also have a nice bucket of warm water in your craft room if you like, and you can put them in there. I try not to have too much water in my craft room, just a thing. Okay, so I did a panel ahead of time, so that's all dry, and I have it ready to go, so we can continue with our card. The other panel that we worked on screen together, I will save for a different project. So I went ahead and put some tear tape on the back of my panel here, and I'm going to adhere that to our little blue glitter cardstock that we have there. And I'm just partially removing the backing of our adhesive, our tear tape adhesive here, just so it can help me center my panel. I'm going to go ahead and then remove the rest of the backing so I can press that down. And I'm using the tear tape because I want something nice and strong and quick to hold on to our glitter cardstock. Glitter cardstock is known to be difficult to adhere things to, so this helps. Now I'm going to adhere this top panel onto our card base. Our card base is made from BrutusMonroe's cardstock. I took a piece, cut it to 6 by 6, and scored in the center at 3 inches. So that's how you get your mini slimline, which measures 3 by 6. Alright, so I'm going to use some Barely Art glue to adhere this panel to our card base. And I'm going to go ahead and get this nice and even on our card base. Then I will press it on top. I will open my card and press it on the inside, putting nice even pressure all the way across. So now let's build our scene. I'm bringing in all my components. First thing we're going to do is give our little girl shark her little pink bow, and it's adhere it just to the base of her little fin there. I have some foam adhesive on it, as well as I'm going to use some Barely Art glue in the center because I kind of bent up the edges. Now she's all set. She looks so cute with her little bow on. I'm going to go ahead and adhere directly to our panel the seaweed or sea kelp. This looks more like sea kelp because it's kind of wavy, and it has like little rocks on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that straight to our panel over here on the right bottom corner. Our seashell here has a little bit of low profile foam tabs on it, so I'm going to put that here on the bottom left. Our male shark has also some foam adhesive, and so does our female shark. I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing of this and adhere him overlapping our sea kelp here towards the right hand side of our card. Get him, and I'm going to put him a little higher, and then I'm going to place our little girl shark a little bit lower, like she's swimming up to meet him, and she's going to overlap our seashell. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing of the foam adhesive here. And I'm using low profile because I don't want it to have a lot of bulk, but I want some dimension on my card, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and now overlap her just so her tail overlaps the seashell just a bit. They're so cute. I love that the swirl is in the center, so it kind of draws your eye in. Alright, so now for our sentiment. We're going to bring in our sentiment on our acrylic block. We're going to use Sending You Oceans of Love. I'm going to bring in that little scrap of BrutusMonroe's cardstock, our Raven Detail ink, and we're going to stamp this on here, and then I'll trim it down into a nice little rectangle, which I'll tuck just under our female shark. Alright, so I'm going to ink this up with our Raven Detail ink, and I will stamp it directly onto our little card panel here, a little card stock strip. I'm going to bring in my mini trimmer here so I can trim this down really quick. And I kept it simple. I'm going to adhere this directly to the panel. We have a lot of dimension going on, and I also don't want it to compete with our little shark, our little image. I want it just to stick in there a little bit. So I'm going to tuck it just under her fin. So I'm going to pop up her fin just a little bit, and I'm going to add some brilliant glue to the back of that little piece of the sentiment section there. I'm going to stick that down to the upper left hand corner, trying to get that straight. Press it in place, push down a shark fin, and our scene is really good at this point. You can leave it like that. You have plenty of shimmer from the glitter cardstock and the Chroma glaze, which has a nice shine to it. But I'm going to add these little teal little gems on here. I'm going to put 3 near the sentiment, and then 3 in the around the male shark and the little seaweed little thing here. Just gonna go ahead. Now these are different shades of teal. They're kind of hard to see on screen. They all look the same, but there's one that's a little bit darker, and then a mid-tone, and then a lighter tone, and there's like a white, but I don't use the white. So I just used the 2 shades, the darker and the lighter of the teal. So there is our completed scene. You have a nice shimmer from the glitter cardstock, the Chroma glaze, our little cute sharks, and your eye, like I said, is being drawn in by the swirl, by the Whirlpool swirl. Now for this panel, I went ahead and like dabbed my spatula up and down on it so I have more texture to my swirl. I'll have to show you that on a different video. Alright, so again, we used our Underwater Friends stamp and die set. Well, actually the dies come sold separately. Our Whirlpool stencil to create our little image. We used our Chroma glaze in blue, teal, and lime with our stencil, and Raven Detail ink for our sentiment and to stamp out our images. I colored my images with Copic markers. But like always, I'll have everything listed in the description box below for you with links to the shop. I hope you found some inspiration today. Please like and subscribe to our channel and share your wonderful creations with us.